Hi guys, Chris here with Super Savvy Travelers. Hey, what's it like to live in Italy? Well, let me tell you, because Pete and I have been in Italy for the last 15, going on 16 years. And there's been a lot going on. Now, we're not normal retirees. We've, been in various different regions. We've lived in various different regions. We've bought and sold properties in various different regions. We've renovated in various different regions and been through a whole lot of things, including, doing the YouTube channel and all of the ups and downs that brings along with it, which there are a few. Hopefully those don't apply to you. You come, you retire, you have a wonderful life. But what I want to really show you is the things that I feel are the most important about living in Italy and the things that you really need to know. There are some things that are kind of more subtle that took me a while to tumble to, in some cases a little too long to tumble to, but let's get to my little list here. They're not really in a specific order, they're all just very, very important. So the first one, of course, is learn Italian. And I know I've been yakking at you and flapping my gums going, you gotta learn Italian, you gotta learn Italian, and I never gave you the tools. So now I'm creating a course. It's going out to the beta testers today. And they're going to let me know how it works for them and that kind of thing. And I'm going to perfect this course, and it's going to be absolutely perfect based on how I learned. I taught myself Italian, and you can do the same if you know how to do it. And again, a lot of it comes back to things that are important versus things that are not important, and all of those different things, and it's a really good course. So by the time I'm finished with it and having crafted it, it's going to be hopefully very, very effective. So stay tuned for that. So learn Italian. What you can do to start out with, first of all, is get a really good translation app. I like Google Translate. I use it all the time. Sometimes I use it to check my Italian because, even if you're quote unquote fluent in Italian, and if you can speak in a flowing manner, you're fluent. I don't care if anybody else has their own ideas about fluency. Fluent just means flowingly. If you can speak flowingly, ergo you are fluent, okay? That doesn't mean you're fluent in every particular situation. If you put me into a hospital setting, although I learned a lot with my last hospital setting, but if you put me in a cardiology unit, chances are I don't know all the words there. Okay, doesn't mean I'm not fluent, okay? Same thing with English. You put me in a car dealership, I don't know the words. Doesn't mean I'm not fluent in English. So that's something you can kind of put aside. Don't worry about fluency, just worry about communication. So the first year you're here is the most important year, and I will tell you, it's tough. It's tough. I've seen so many people go through it, and many times, partway through the year, they're like, oh, what have I done? Especially those who bought and renovate properties. It's almost like clockwork, every single one of them, even the most stalwart people that I have, the ones that I know are going to get through this renovation are going to be great. And they even have their meltdown periods where like, oh, what have I done? One of my friends, one of our clients is so funny. He said he had arrived and the renovation was ongoing. He couldn't stay in the house. He had to stay in the local B&B, and he went to the restaurant at one time and it was raining sideways, and he's got his bag of food and he's like, what have I done? Everybody has that moment when they're renovating, and a lot of people have that moment when they move. So don't be worried about that. Everybody has it. Everybody gets by it. You just keep putting one foot in front of the other, and it happens. So learning Italian, after you're learning Italian, make sure before you arrive, get all your visas and documentations in order. And some of that stuff has to be done at your home consulate. So don't come over to Italy thinking, oh, I'll just do it when I get here. No, you can't. It's impossible. You have to handle a lot of your stuff at your home consulate. That's very important. Another thing is decide whether you're going to live here or be here part-time. I mean, if you're here part-time, or even if you're doing the Schengen Shuffle, there's a lot of bureaucracy and paperwork and just migraine headaches that you can avoid if you want to do that. Now, there is the migraine headache of moving every 90 days. But let's say you get a vacation home, you're here, 90 days, you go back 90 days, you come back here for 90 days. It's a very nice existence if you can afford the back and forth. Moving here is a different thing. There's a lot involved with the immigration aspects. And a lot you have to know, some of which I'm going to go over here. Now, if you're part-time, make sure that you get an app that tracks your number of days here, because you really don't want to overstay your visa. They can deny you access into the area, and if you've already bought a vacation home and you're denied access to Italy, that could be problematic. So make sure you're counting those days. The next thing you want to do is decide on the area you want to live. Now pay very close attention to the culture. The cultures are vary wildly from region to region, but also from town to town. It's actually quite the click over when you go from one area to the next and you start really looking at the culture. And you have to look at the culture. You can't just be on your own. And there are some cultural things that are not announced, you know, and you don't see them on the channel. Things like the interaction between men and women. Things like, you know, how the household is run in an Italian household. I mean, Italy is huge. It's got, you know, a bunch of different regions and a bunch of different cultures. What happens in one Italian household does not necessarily happen in the next Italian household. Ideas, cultural norms, these are things you really have to look at the subtext in order to get a handle on. And I wish I had done that a little bit more. I was pretty good at it initially, but there were some things I didn't catch until later, and it would have made life a whole lot easier if I had caught them sooner. So sit back and observe. How do men and women interact? You know, how do people interact with the local service people? How do they interact with each other? You're going to find some interesting things. For example, when I'm walking around with Antonello, everybody addresses him as architetto. You know, and when I talk with Nick Mehta, people address him as avvocato, and it's very interesting. They're addressed as their profession. That's only one interesting and fun norm, but there's other cultural things that you really want to be prepared for, and you don't want to step in it. Okay, you don't want to step in it. That's the biggest thing. So make sure you're looking at all that stuff, and when in doubt, ask a trusted friend, you know, what do I do? For example, there was somebody's birthday and I'm like, I don't want to give them a huge gift because then there's an obligation, but then I want to give them a gift that's special, blah, blah, blah. What do I do? Oh, well, you can buy them a card, put a little bit of money in. Thank you, thank you. Don't be afraid to ask. Upon arrival, immediately set up your networks because you don't want to wait until you need a veterinarian before you get a veterinarian. You don't want to wait until you need a doctor to get one. Start setting up your network. Get your contacts at the comune. They are the most important. And when they know you, they go out of their way to really try to help you. I always make a point of meeting the mayor. The mayors are very nice here and they're very accessible and they like to meet you. Another thing, your doctors, your insurance agents, your here when you're driving a car, there's an agencia that does all the car stuff for you and sets things up and makes sure you have the libretto and all of the things that you need in order to drive legally. So make sure you line that up as well. It's also very good to find a company, like a little mechanic that will do a revisione. Every 2 years you have to do a revisione on your car, which means they check all aspects of the car, the brakes, the engine, you know, the windshield wipers. They check over everything and then they give you a stamp, and then you can only then can you legally drive that car. So you need to make sure that you have that available and ready before you need it. When you need workers for things like plumbers, electricians, or even somebody to paint your house, go to the bar. The local bar, they know everybody. Everybody comes in there. So you need somebody to haul furniture? Okay, you know, go check with Giuseppe down the street, or they call Giuseppe for you sometimes, which is very nice. Another thing that's very, 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 very important is make sure you're doing everything legally. Don't go under the table. Don't do anything. Don't let anything slide because it can put you in a very difficult situation. The importance of doing everything legally cannot be overstated. You're in a different country. You need to really learn the laws that apply, because the last thing you want is to find out later that there are penalties and whatnot attached to things that you didn't know anything about. So it's very important to make sure, and again, talk to a trusted person, maybe go see a commercialista or check with an attorney and say, what all do I need to do to be here legally, to, you know, live legally in all aspects, driving. I mean, there's a lot to that, you know, just living, immigration, all that stuff. Make sure you have that all done legally so you never have to worry about anything. Now, if you're driving, start your courses right away. You can be, once you have residency in Italy, you have 1 year to get your driver's license, your Italian driver's license, and it is not in English. You can take the course in English, but the test is in Italian. So start that right away. Don't put it off until the last minute and then go, oh, you know, I don't have my Italian driver's license. Even if you still have your international driver's license or your American California driver's license, it's not going to be valid once you're a resident. So keep that in mind. It's very, very important. And of course, you need to learn Italian if you're going to drive. That's just all there is to it. The next thing is understand that the Italian legal system is long and slow. So let's say you decide, you have a dispute with your neighbor and you litigate. It is going to take forever, okay? And it's not inexpensive. It's not as expensive as in the US. It's not inexpensive to go legal in any case. So what I would suggest is always, always, always do your due diligence. If you're going to buy a house, get your architect out there. Get your, have your attorney run through the title and everything else. Make sure there's no unpermitted work. The last thing you want to do is put a bunch of money into a house and then have to litigate, because you may be dead before that litigation ends and you see a penny. I have a friend who had an accident and it's been 8 years, and there's another year before there's any sort of idea of resolution. So don't go legal. Make sure that you do everything you can to not go legal, and if you have to after that, then there are some things you just can't control. But I think it's very important to make that point and make sure you get everything done in advance. Understand that there are certain areas that enforce the laws more than other areas. I'm just going to leave that there. Now, when buying or renting, make your decision long term, okay? When we first bought our house in Calabria, we fell in love with this beautiful house. It was right in the middle of the hill, so there was a lot of stairs going down, a lot of stairs going up. There was no easy way to get to this house unless you had an ape or, one of those life-lifting helicopter things. If you had that, you're great, but we did not. Then my hips went bad, and then of course the ankle break and everything else. And in short, my mobility situation changed radically from the point when we bought that house to the point that we actually, ended up selling and getting into a place a lot more friendly to the mobility impaired. Nobody lives forever. After the hip thing, I'm like, okay, I can't depend on the body always being the same. It's not going to be the same. And there are some things that you can work around. And I have a saying which goes, the minute you stop climbing stairs is the minute you're not going to be able to climb stairs anymore. You've already decided, that's it, I'm not going to climb stairs. You're done climbing stairs, and you won't be able to do it. A few weeks after that, you won't be able to do it. So always keep climbing stairs. That said, you may not want them in your house. So make sure you're looking long term. In addition, I will say it again, I hate to dwell on this, but in every couple, somebody dies first, okay? And if you're living here in Italy, how is that other person that's left behind going to feel? Are they out in the country where you had an idyllic life when there was the two of you and one of you is gone and the other person is now isolated and alone? Might not be the ideal scene. Look at these things. Think about these things before you purchase your property. The next one's kind of a stupid one. Don't supermarket shop on Sunday morning. We were just in the supermarket last Sunday, and it's a zoo. And we contributed to the zoo-like atmosphere because we were there too. So don't supermarket shop on Sunday morning. Do it on Saturday afternoon during the pausa. When the supermarkets are still open, go in there. The pausa is the period after lunch where everybody takes a nap or whatever, they digest, and then they reopen their shops and everything else. Definitely shop during the pausa if you can in the bigger supermarkets, or do it early in the morning, but don't do it on Sunday morning. Saturdays are also pretty bad. Think in advance before you go shopping. Now, a couple of other things. There's always the, the normal one. Oh, you can't have cappuccino after 11. Yes, you can. Just order it. So what? You get one of these eyebrows up in your hairline thing? Who cares? Enjoy your cappuccino. Most times you're not going to get that. They'll just make it for you. The other thing about flip-flops in Italy, no, one of my friends here wears flip-flops all the time, okay? And I wear them too when I'm down working or I'm down going to the supermarket or something like that. Sometimes I wear flip-flops. They're comfortable. I like them. Don't sweat the small stuff. Sweat the big stuff that I gave you and you're going to be okay. Now, another thing I want to tell you, our movie, Chasing La Bella Vita, which is a beautiful story of a widow who comes over to Italy to try to find what's missing in her life and has a bunch of adventures, is coming out in 2027. We've almost wrapped the filming of it. I do have a channel under my Chris Sobolev channel on YouTube where we go into behind the scenes, the things we've learned, how the filming is going, all of the things having to do with this beautiful movie. It's gonna be great. So make sure you stay tuned for that and go over to my other YouTube channel and check out Chris Sobolev YouTube, where we're going to be talking about Chasing La Bella Vita. Now, another thing is go join our school community. We do discuss Chasing La Bella Vita there, but we also discuss language, culture, property purchases, immigration, blah, 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 blah. Everything that you need to know is in our school community, and you can find it below. So there you go, guys. Those are the important tips. If you have important tips, make sure you put them in the comments section below so we can share them with our people, because we do read the comments and we do take notes. So there you go, guys. Hope that helps. See you soon.